Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss a story about the rare coins and hidden treasures that built our history. Every week, we uncover the secrets of the coins that have seen wars, revolutions, and changing empires. And maybe, just maybe, you've got one sitting quietly in an old drawer waiting to tell its story. Now, let's talk about a piece that carries with it the spirit of a nation standing on the edge of change. The year was 1955. The world was recovering from the Second World War, industries were rebuilding, and the old colonial systems were beginning to fade. South Africa, a land of vast mineral wealth and deep divisions, was in the early days of the apartheid era. Amid that complex political landscape, the Royal Mint issued a coin that would capture a moment in time. The 1955 South Africa Two Shillings coin bearing the young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, the design itself is a reflection of British influence that still held firm in South Africa during the mid-20th century. On the obverse, the freshly crowned Queen Elizabeth II faces to the right, her youthful profile symbolizing the promise of a new era. Her coronation just 2 years earlier had sent waves of optimism across the Commonwealth, and coins like this one were minted to affirm that bond between Britain and its territories. The lettering Queen Elizabeth II arcs cleanly around her image, representing continuity, stability, and authority. Flip it over, and you find something uniquely South African. The protea, the country's national flower, standing proudly in the center. It's not just a pretty design. It's a powerful emblem of growth and resilience. The two protea blossoms are surrounded by the words South Africa and SUD Africa, both English and Afrikaans, and the denomination 2 shillings. Even on a small silver disc, you can read the story of a nation divided yet intertwined, two languages pressed into one surface, two cultures claiming space in a shared economy. For collectors and historians alike, this coin isn't just about its silver content. It's about what it represents. In 1955, South Africa's coins were still minted in sterling silver, specifically 50% silver content, a reminder of the real value behind the currency. That was a time when money had weight, when it felt cold and solid in the palm, when a shilling could actually buy you something meaningful. Men who grew up in that era can still recall the sound of coins like this clinking in their pockets, sound that spoke of work, trade, and the day's honest reward. But what makes the 1955 2 shillings coin special to collectors today isn't just nostalgia. It's also rarity and historical timing. You see, this was one of the last issues before South Africa's coinage began to shift away from the British system toward the decimal currency introduced in 1961. That transition marked the end of the shilling, the penny, and the pound in South African life. The coins that survived that change became relics of a vanished system, witnesses to the moment when one nation began cutting its ties with another. When you hold a 1955 2 shillings coin, you're holding a bridge between worlds, the British Commonwealth and the Republic that was yet to come. The silver has dulled with time, but the details still stand out beautifully if you look closely. You can see the fine engraving of Elizabeth's hair, the crisp serif of the lettering, the delicate petals of the protea, and that slightly milky sheen that only genuine silver acquires after decades of quiet aging. Many of these coins were circulated heavily, used in markets, mines, and shops across the country. A few were set aside by servicemen or travelers as keepsakes, sometimes finding their way to distant corners of the world. It's easy to overlook a coin like this if you don't know its story. It's small, light, and simple. But when you trace the lines of history, you begin to see how it fits into the larger picture. The fading of the British Empire, the birth of modern South Africa, the reign of a young queen who would go on to become one of the most enduring figures of the 20th century. Every scratch and nick tells part of that tale. Every surviving piece is a quiet witness to a time when the world was remaking itself and nothing felt certain. For those of you who grew up in the 1950s and 60s, This coin is a reminder of that changing world you lived through. Maybe you remember your father jingling coins like these in his pocket after a long day's work. Or perhaps you saw the Queen's portrait on stamps, notes, and newspapers, symbolizing an order that felt eternal. That feeling of familiarity, that connection to something tangible and enduring, is what makes coins so powerful. They aren't just metal, they're memory cast in silver. Today, collectors search for this particular coin because it stands at a crossroads in both design and history. The 1955 issue with Queen Elizabeth II's effigy was only produced for a few short years before the design changed again. Well-preserved examples, especially those that still carry their original mint luster, are becoming harder to find. Most have been worn smooth by years of circulation, but even the worn pieces still hold a certain dignity. The craftsmanship, the purity of metal, and the connection to a pivotal era make them deeply collectible. So, what's this small piece of mid-century history worth today? While the sentimental value can never truly be measured, the market tells its own story. A 1955 South Africa 2 shillings coin in average circulated condition typically sells for around $60. If you've got one tucked away in a collection or passed down from a relative, you're holding more than just an old coin. You're holding $60 of silver and 70 years of history in the palm of your hand. If you enjoyed uncovering the story behind this remarkable piece, don't forget to subscribe. There are countless more coins like this waiting to share their secrets, and together we'll keep their stories alive, one coin at a time.